56. All right. Truck 13 to main. That's truck 13.
When I hear the bell, you know I'm all in. It's not just a job, it's a calling. It's a calling. It's a calling. Squad 5, get live. When I hear the bell, you know I'm all in. It's not just a job, it's a calling. It's a calling. It's a calling. It's a calling. 7-3. February 06, I did my thing. Chicago 5.
Fire prevention is essential to the fire service that we perform here in the city of Chicago. Going back over the history of the fire department, you would see that fire deaths have decreased tremendously and drastically because of the Fire Prevention Bureau. There's more effort now, more work being done through fire prevention to save lives and to protect property, which is essentially our basic call, to save lives and preserve property.
In my opinion, fire prevention is more important even than fire suppression. And the reason I say that is with 100% effective fire prevention, we can decrease fires and eliminate the need for fire suppression.
Of course, fire prevention is very important to the fire department. In fact, it's our first line of defense when it comes to fires. It's educating the public on how to prevent fires. Preventing fires leaves us in a situation where we're doing the public good.
219 is requesting a turret wagon. That is correct. We had one, right? Stand by, 7-2.
Fire prevention, besides saving lives and preserving property, allow us also to investigate in advance potential dangers, potential hazards, dangerous buildings, hazardous waste material, and also terrorist situations that may occur or could occur. It allows us the opportunity to go inside the properties and ensure that they're safe, not just for the occupants of the building, but for the community as a whole. It allows us to detect anything any illegal operations that are going on inside of a community. And so fire prevention is very essential to everything that we do in this world.
Within the Fire Prevention Bureau, there are sections, if you want to call. There's there's pump sections, there are investigation, there's in-service inspection section, there's schools and there's institutions and underground tanks, and it's a lot of different areas that fire is happening that we should be concerned with. So they are separated by sections that a group of fire prevention inspectors can concentrate on.
Okay.
Because it is pretty vast. So just being knowledgeable of it and our span of control is to break them down into sections. So you do have again, fire prevention is vast. It really is, but it's a good working relationship we have, and we're able to, if we can convey that to the building owners, which is important. Sometimes the building owner don't understand. All they understand is, oh, there's a violation, and I have to correct the violation. It's going to cost me money. But we look at it as it could save someone's life.
With the advent of the last 40 years, I would say 50 years, we've built a lot of high-rises, a great deal of high-rises now. And so now the firefight is not just horizontal, but it's vertical now, and which means that we've got to go up through tunnels into high-rise buildings using staircases and every now and then elevators, but primarily just the staircases. And when we get inside of these high-rise buildings, there's a need to have water ready when we get there. There's a need, in many cases, to have sprinkler systems in place, and that's one of the things that the Fire Prevention Bureau ensures. We ensure that there's water on the upper floors, and also that there are sprinkler systems in place that save us about a good 70% of the time in fires. If there's a good sprinkler going off at the time of a fire, it can put the fire out before we get there. And essentially all we deal with then in that case is the smoke and heat hazard that is yet still there.
Well, many lives could have been spared due to having things such as sprinkler systems. We have high-rise buildings now that were built before sprinkler systems were required. Fighting fires in buildings like those are more dangerous, more difficult to suppress the fire, and we have lost firefighters in buildings such as those. So that would decrease the number of members that would have been lost. When we perform an inspection, we inspect the sprinkler system. That sprinkler system working properly will save the business owner and also save the customers from having increased costs if the entire business is lost due to a fire or something of that nature. Studies have shown that most fires in a facility with a sprinkler system have been either completely put out or suppressed by just having one sprinkler head go off. So this is going to revolutionize firefighting as we know it now. It's going to save a lot of lives, it's going to save property, and in turn it's going to save money not only for the homeowners, businesses, but also the insurance companies.
Here we have it run a little bit different. We're teaching, we don't have to go to the underground. We do have bells, we get into that when they come over back for the bell. Everything here is live. All our alarms, although they're not hooked to a central station, we do ring them here. It's a training facility. Any other questions? Your test header, of course, for your control valve after your check. Okay. I don't know, it's like a 4-hour class we give them in 5 minutes. So. Is that it? Class open? Any questions? We have to answer. Our bypass towards business conditions on the water supply to put out a fire and the pump is out. So we bypass is all we go. You never know when the fire will be. 10-minute minimum pump time run, right? Panel. In our situation, we did, right, sorry, for the city it's 7, but here it's about 4, because we don't need to be running it all the time. Right. Yeah, if we did it down the line, we would probably, the jockey didn't have a chance to kick out because we opened that right there. I know you guys are.
You spoke about sprinklers now. Is that something that's going to be a hallmark for the future of firefighting? Will the city or will government require that mostly all properties have sprinkler systems in the future?
That is an ongoing effort right now to ensure that we get as many buildings sprinkled as possible. The big handicap or the big holdback in that effort is the fact that it is cost prohibitive to some manufacturers and to some building owners, and so they prefer not to do it. But when you measure out the death factor as compared to the financial gain, I would dare say one life saved is worth the cost.
272 to me. Good. 222 is on the scene. This is a progress report from 222. It is a 4-story ordinary. Change the dimensions to 200 by 150. It is a commercial building. We're still having a hard time finding the scene of the fire. Hey, your message. 272. 272.
We talk about fire prevention. Who is ultimately responsible to prevent fires? Is it just a government or a fire department concern, or is it something that the public should be concerned about as well?
I think it's a collaborative effort between the private citizen, the public sector, as well as the government's concern to ensure that everybody is safe. When you look back, reflect back on some fires that has occurred, and you look at how it could have been prevented, you realize that everybody play a role in fire prevention. If you see a hazardous situation inside of a public building, or rather as a high-rise, it's incumbent upon the citizen to make a note to the fire department or to call the fire department, let them know that there's a hazardous situation there. We recently had a fire, excuse me, in the past few years with a young lady coming in after spending the night out, and she got into the elevator, got to her floor. When the elevator door opened, the fire was there confronting her, and she died there in that fire. And so it makes you wonder what type of preventive efforts should have been taken care of, or what was overlooked in the effort to save a few dollars and the loss of life that did result in that.
I would suggest that if a space heater is going to be used, make sure that it's used far away from anything that could cause any type of ignition, things like that. Also, if you're going to use them directly into the outlet instead of using extension cords. Don't overload your multi strips for your items. You know, that can cause a fire as well before, from an electrical overload. So those type of things can be effective in keeping fires down and still keeping people warm, throughout the winter. We understand that, some people use electricity for their heating instead of gas, but we want people to do it safely.
We're there, to serve the public,
Okay.
and to make sure that fires are really they're not happening.
Okay.
We'd love for there to be no fires, but of course, year after year there are fires because we have more added things like fuel in homes. You have people smoking. You have electrical systems. You have cell phone usage. Some
Okay.
folks, that added a whole new element. All the homes having cell phones.
Cell phones can cause fires?
Well, yes, they do. We plug them into electrical sockets to charge them up, and they malfunction.
Okay.
They do things. Probably one of our increase now is folks plugging their cell phone up and lay it on the bed.
Oh, wow.
And it heats up, and it's right there by the pillow, and it gets covered by the pillow. There's no ventilation. It heats up, and it catches on fire. The same thing with your computers and your media devices.
Okay.
Things happen. They're electrical devices, and people don't understand that.
Okay.
So we push heavily on fire prevention, education.
Okay.
Smoke alarms and changing batteries. And check your smoke detectors is very important. That's one of our biggest campaigns, and it does save a lot of lives. In fact, I can say from my experience over the last 35 years, I've seen fire deaths go from 285 a year to now we probably around 24.
Okay.
Which is
That's
phenomenal.
That's big.
We like to get it down to zero, but that's a phenomenal accomplishment.
Yes.
And we can't do that without the public's help.
There's nothing real hard about it. It's something that has to be done and has to be looked at. All right. And now you have basically, that's the big key to it. And as you see this, like this here, this would be your common setup. As it comes through, down the corridor, into the rooms, or, on a floor, if a tenant space would happen, that kind of stuff. And you also want to hear the bells ring on the floors. You want to hear the strobes go off, because they, believe me, another building, different building, 20 stories, Sunday morning, here we are testing the alarm system, make sure everything's working. My name's going on the bottom of it, so I want to hear everything work. First building, 20th floor, open up the inspector's test to get water in it. The guy says, oh, we got an alarm. No bell in the building. Somebody disconnected the bells at the panel. Now, what if they would have had a fire in that building? Who would know? When the fire trucks pull up, there would be everybody looking out the window going, what the fire truck's over there? But if the place was on fire, now you're running up and downstairs and telling everybody joint's on fire. Yeah, that's just basic stuff. People are afraid of fire alarm panels. They're afraid of bells. So what they do is they disconnect them.
Right.
That way you never have to worry about a bell in the building. But unfortunately, if something happens, if tragedy happens, now you got another bigger one. Now what do you say? I'm sorry, the bell didn't ring. It don't make you feel any better.
when my company performs an in-service inspection where we inspect the business and remove any material that might be hazardous or that might cause a fire, in doing that, we've already prevented a fire from happening in the future. And this is why I think it's so very vital for my company and other companies on the Chicago Fire Department do in-service inspections, do fire prevention as it relates to school fire drills and things of that nature, so that we work to decrease the need for fire suppression.
Well, I can say preventing fires is pretty tough, like you said. There are some things that go beyond our control.
Okay.
So, but I would have to mention smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors.
Okay.
The fire starts. We can lose property. It's not. I can say it's not an issue, but it's not as harmful, to someone in losing a life. We can always replace property.
Okay.
But a smoke detector, we found that if it's working in the home and you happen to be there when a fire starts, it'll alert you.
Okay.
And you can get out of the home. And you'll hear that usually when there's a fire, that's one of the part of the film crew or television crew is to find out was there a working smoke detector, because they know that if there was a working smoke detector, that person got out. Okay. And they're looking for that answer. They get probably 90% of the time, if someone's injured or there's a death, is well, we found no working smoke detector. Okay. So I have to leave that message, as my most important, to you guys when you stop by, is that you get that message out, that it's important to have a working smoke detector and also a carbon monoxide detector working also.
Wow. Well, you really said a lot, and I really appreciate you giving us this time. Prevention, awareness, that's at the heart of keeping us safe. We certainly appreciate your service. We thank you again for your time.
Okay, thank you. Anytime.
All right.
All righty.
Hello, I'm Anthony Ross. I'm a Chicago firefighter. I'd like to tell you there's a lot to be said about being prepared. And being ready is mostly, no, it is all of the game. Let's talk about fire prevention. Fire prevention is the best preparation that one can have when it comes to fighting fires. If fires are prevented, then the chances of me coming home not injured and alive and well increases dramatically. So we'd like to thank you for everything that you can do to prevent fires, because just like your family loves you and needs you, my family also loves me and needs me. Thank you for all your efforts. We salute you and your family during this fire prevention project.
The death of a firefighter strikes to the heart of all those who depend on them, work with them, and love them. As we turn our thoughts to remember the fallen, don't forget heroes are trained, not born. We're there when you need us. Please do your part to promote fire prevention.
Just a job, it's a calling, it's a calling. It's a calling. Squad 5, get live.
You, huh? Why are you smiling? Why are you smiling? Why are you smiling? Answer the question. Answer the question. Answer the question. Why are you smiling? It's not job. Hello. Turn it down. Yes, sir. I don't understand. Yes, sir.
Okay, take your time, put him down. Still human, pioneer, education, a field of learning, education, with the first tool, spreading around the door, just like fire, so baby, the bag, you have to get the beast, to probably fight, 0 to 6, put him down. How about you move with the speed and intensity? Now, doing it quickly cause we don't wanna be beaten. Now, we all wanna be first engine and first truck. All for the sake of getting the fire struck. Working hard with pride and properly. Our mission to preserve life and property. I'm aware of the danger, still glad to be doing this. I'll feel blessed despite the risk. Best gig in the world. Yo, I love my job, but trucking engine got this. Yo, hold the squad. When I hear the bell, yo, I'm all in. It's not just a job, it's a calling. When I hear the bell, you know I'm all in. It's not just a job, it's a calling. When I hear the bell, yo, I'm all in. It's not just a job, it's a calling. When I hear the bell, you know I'm all in. It's not just a job, it's a calling.
They are gladiators. They are warriors. And long ago, they made that choice.
The year of 09 was my time to shine. Doing work with my brother from the big 49. I wake up every morning ready to do my duty. Not really worried about how many people stop to salute me. Ever since I was a youngin', I wanted to do this. The kids in class, they looked at me as if I was stupid. The only thing that mattered to me was my family legacy. Trailing right behind my father, who was walking ahead of me. At the age of 21, I accomplished my dream. Standing right next to my daddy on the CFD team. Doing vigorous training, shedding blood, sweat, and tears. While instructors screaming our faces and yelling our ears. My younger year, my worst fear was being a failure. Listen up, cause I'm trying to tell you. When I hear that bell, yo, you know I'm all in.